Hi, everybody. Michaela here. Lisa and I are here today to talk to you about our new book, Life in Flux, Navigational Skills to Guide and Ground You in an Ever-Changing World. And we're really excited about this book. And we've both been thinking in a lot of different ways about how to help people navigate change. And there is a scholar, and his name is Bruce Feiler, and he says that as humans, as adult humans in the West, most of us undergo significant transitions every 12 to 18 months. And Lisa, you and I were just talking about the fact that that probably means that at any given moment, we're sort of either on our way into a
Yeah,
transition, in the midst of one, or sort of coming out of one.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, life feels like it's just kind of in near constant motion. And this feels true on a number of different, what we've come to call altitude levels. So you think about the 30,000-foot level. Wow, the big changes that are happening in politics and sort of a globalized world. On the 10,000-foot level, my goodness, what does it mean that an aging workforce is meeting a distributed one? Down to the 1,000-foot level, ugh, like another restructuring in my workplace. What does that mean for me? And then all the way down to the 10-foot level. What does it mean to, redo and rethink about friendships now that I'm in my 40s? So, in light of all of that, we have put forth this book that has a set of navigational skills to guide that kind of change. And I think underneath it is a bigger question, Lisa, is that what does it mean to respond as people of faith?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? And you and I have both been working at this professionally for many, many years. The work actually is counterintuitive, right? And if you look at Jesus' life and story in the Bible, he brought the upside down kingdom, and I think that's a little bit of what we touch on here. It also requires the ability to really kind of stop and pay attention to yourself and others and do that deeper inner work, which is hard to do when things are ebbing and flowing around you at a crazy pace. And the other thing you and I both know for sure, and we certainly learned it writing this book, is that while the work is deeply personal and it requires some ability to self-reflect and all of that, you also can't do it alone, right? We have to do it with other people. And so we start the book with a bit of a story, and I think we'll share that now, and Michaela and I'll talk about it together. Imagine yourself out on a small boat in the fog, right? The fog has rolled in. This story actually happened to my now husband. He was 16 or 17 when this happened, and it was a long time ago. Think 1960s, so no cell phones or electronics or GPS navigation. And the boat was small. He was out with two friends off the coast of Maine, doing some island hopping, which was a primary activity. And the primary navigation tool back in those days was really the paper chart, right? It told you where the channels were and where the rocks were and around the islands. And you really had to know the waters to stay safe and not be in danger of grounding your boat or, taking the bottom out of it or something, which is really, we've had that happen. It's not a fun thing. And so Roger and two of his buddies are out. They're making their way back towards home, and this dense, thick fog rolls in. And literally the kind of fog where you can't see your hand in front of you. Like his buddies are sitting in the back. You could barely see them, right? And the temptation is to just gun the engine and go, right? Let's get home as fast as possible. But you're in the fog, so you don't know what direction to go in, right?
Right.
And
Right.
if you go too far out of where you're going on a small boat, you risk running out of gas and all kinds of other things. And so what Roger did, he had a moment of panic, but then he stopped
Yeah.
and he cut the engine of the boat. And there's the boat still in the water, no engine running. And he looked at his two friends and he said, "Listen." And the three of them listened together for a couple of minutes. And what they were listening for were we could call them the sounds of home, but what they really were are the bell buoys and the foghorns that automatically go off up and down the coastline when the weather turns like this, right? Because those are the sounds that people on the water are listening for, so they know where they're going and they start to pay attention. And there are two or 3 foghorns and bell buoys that really mark kind of the area where our cottage is and where Roger was trying to get back to. And so that's what they did. They stopped, they cut the engine, they listened, then they start up and move a little bit and then stop again. Have we gone further? Where are the sounds? And it's a very sound based, movement, right? You have to listen and pay attention. And so small incremental moves over a little bit of time. And they finally made their way where they could begin to see the outline of the shore in the distance. And I got a sense of where they were, but it was a long, slow process to get there, right?
Yeah, I think that story is really powerful. One of my, I won't say favorite because it sets a bleak scene, but one of the parts that sort of makes my head spin is that that day they happened to forget their compass.
Yeah,
And so that ability to really have to rely on these counterintuitive navigational skills and sort of reach deep and work together. This is exactly what you outlined. The counterintuitive deep work can't do it alone. And that's it. Like that, like the transition, the change,
yeah,
whatever altitude we're feeling, sometimes more at once, it often creates that kind of dense blanket of fog in which we're like, how do we move forward? So that's what this book is about. This book is about helping you develop the kind of navigational skills that get you from here to there when the fog rolls in. And we look forward to telling you more about it and can't wait to do that. But thanks for listening.